Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to ESL Southeast Europe League of Legends. It is the grand finals. It's going to be a best of 5. It is between Dark Passage and Different Dimensions. Dark Passage, of course, you may know them from the World Championships. There is still 3 teams remaining in that team as well, so 3 players remaining in there. Holy Phoenix, of course, very vocal after Dark Passage failed in the World Championships. Even failed, it's always tough, the group they were in. Well, they were in with the world champion Samsung White, so they kind of were in a tricky position straight away. But even Kaboom
won a game.
Yeah, so they're also up against, of course, Different Dimensions, the Greek team. So it's going to be a Greek-Turkish battle. It's gone on over the history for many years. Everyone knows, of course, Sparta. But what we're doing, we're going to go straight into pick and bans because the game's getting underway. We'll take you through the bracket format in just a few moments. Of course, we are going to have that 3-minute gap. We are on a live version of it. So it is 4.21, remember. So there's a lot of changes. Warwick's no longer OP. And, of course, we are about to get underway. So, picks and bans coming straight through. Rek'Sai banned out. Now, I wonder if that's because people just don't know the champion or whether it is really that strong in 421, of course. Has just come out in 421. Also, Jace banned out in there as well. Been a very strong top laner. In fact, he has kind of been a standard ban. I think throughout 420, we found it, of course, over the Intel Extreme Masters. OGN as well. It's been almost a solid ban, along with Nara as well. Ari and Zed on the other side. So a lot of focus on Naru. Naru, if you do remember, back in Gamescom for the International Wildcard Qualifiers, he played, I think it was 6 or 7 different champions throughout the tournament. And every single game played a completely new champion. So big champion pool for Naru in that mid lane.
I'm actually really curious to see what's going to be picked up here between them. You know, you mentioned Jace earlier on being banned out. We saw a lot of him during EPS this last week, and we saw a lot of them during EES as well. Kind of like a, let's just get some really good wave clear in kind of thing. Lissandra as well, for me, is like a really big pick to see if it's going to be taken. There's also a lot of overlap between the top laners in terms of what they like to play with Aurelia. So I'm curious to see if they're going to kind of battle for that one. But we are going to see Lissandra as a first pick here. So we're going to see that great wave clear, not to mention the great engage that we saw back in, the beginning of the summer season of LCS back in 2013. I love seeing this champion again, and it's just all about that wave clear that you have, that's needed when it comes into the late game.
Right, as you said, it was locked in for that top lane. It has kind of been a first pick of sorts throughout 420. And now obviously on 421, still sticking in there. If you'd watched the North American LCS expansion as well, was kind of a big favorite in there. You can see Pop is available. Not too sure if we're going to see it. Was quite successful throughout that one. And actually now really the only top laner that was banned out. I guess you could say Jace is kind of a top laner these days as well. But Orianna currently being hovered over. Are they going to go for an AD support setup here? Let's see which way they go.
I'm actually surprised to see them choose Orianna so early, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about Lissandra, she can go middle, she can go top. It's all about whether or not you want to force her into a certain position. You can obviously go with Orianna if you want to disable like maybe a ball delivery system. It's kind of weird to see Lissandra as potentially being the one that does that, but it's always a possibility. But it looks like they will go for Orianna, so going to be sticking her in the mid lane. A Thresh as well, which is something that Penalife has played through a majority of their games. And speaking of these two teams, they haven't had a real challenge yet. Coming through the brackets here, they both had 2-0s, clean sweeps, 20 to 30-minute games, and hopefully between these two teams, it's going to be a very tough battle.
So Magebane in the middle currently for Different Dimensions. Is that a different player? Is it because it used to be Lullerus? Is that just? I don't know if he's just gone through a name change. Yeah, I don't know, you never know, guys. But yeah, Thresh was locked in there, so it's going to be the Corki Janna, which is actually a new combo. That's I wouldn't say new combo, but it's all about the mid game spike, and obviously with Lissandra in there, that kind of fits in nicely.
Yeah, I mean, if they go for like an AP middle as well, and they leave Lissandra top lane, that's a really strong mid-game team. And also, one thing I really like about the Janna pick, it's like, you have an Orianna, right? You depend on that ball delivery system to get in there and get your fight, started, get your wombo combo going down. John just says no, resets it completely after you get that engage, and will heal up a lot of the damage that's gone down on top of that. And the Corki as well, I've seen him be very strong lately. He was actually a strong pick for Steelback, so not surprised to see him pick that up. But the Graves played in 2 of their games when they played against, I believe it was Reported and Deported here for Different Dimensions. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them actually lock that one in.
Well, currently, we'll see what they go with. Graves has kind of been that counter to the Corki. Also was used as a counter to Lucian at the end of the LCS season. And it's all about the mid-game spike. I mean, I remember talking about a lot of this with Monty and co when we were over in IEM, like how 420, just like the season 2014 World Finals, was all about mid-game. And that's kind of what the new patch has led to is because you need to get those dragons early on. Remember, we're on 421, so the dragon buff has changed around slightly. The positioning, I think it's the second and the fourth switch, didn't they?
Okay.
If I recall, which is the bonus damage to
minions and towers,
which has switched to fourth place, and that's moved around. So we've got to see how it works out.
That's actually a really big change if you think about it.
And because at the point there was a lot of discussions with teams of talking about whether it was worth going for an early dragon or just sticking in the lanes, getting the gold, because obviously you don't get global gold anymore from that dragon, whether you push for those towers. We'll see whether that works out. Jarvan and Ezreal, of course, were locked in. Ezreal has kind of risen to dominance, and obviously it's going to be Orianna in the mid lane, but we have seen a lot of Ezes in mid lane lately.
We have actually, even during the expansion tournament in NA, we saw it a couple of times, but this just reminds me of back in Season 2. It was always Corki versus Ezreal in that bottom lane, and obviously Ezreal can be very dominant within the comp alone. You think about how their comp's going to work. You have the Baudelaire system, pulls them all together, locked inside of a Cataclysm, Ezreal ulted across them as well. Like, that's a lot of burst damage that's going to come down almost instantly. And to kind of counter this, as you can see, the Lee Sin and Irelia being locked in, the Lee Sin to go for a disengage, the Irelia can kind of get into the back line and maybe stick to however he needs to. Pretty strong combo, so that means Lissandra would be going mid lane then. Irelia would be top, and Lee Sin has really easy ganks in that mid lane, and I'm really worried for that Orianna.
This is all about kicking your ass 20, 30 minutes into this game, isn't it? With Lee Sin in there and the Irelia, get that Triforce complete and away you go. Remember, Jarvan's had a few changes. Cataclysm was, I would say nerfed.
Fixed?
It was fixed. It was fixed in the current patch. Corki also had a change as well. His Phosphorus Bomb has been slowed down a touch, but it looks like Maokai is going to get locked in that top lane. Now, Maokai versus Lissandra. It's a tricky top lane.
Irelia.
Oh, yes, because of course it's Lissandra mid lane. Yes. So we'll see. Yeah, actually that works out well. Maokai Irelia is a good lane combo. I would almost say skill matchup. Because we've seen some Aurelias actually dominate Maokai's, but we've also seen Maokai's dominating Aurelias.
I think you're definitely on point with that one. And I think one thing that we should always keep in mind, I remember talking to Machine about this over the weekend, was, Aurelia doesn't really have a really bad matchup. There's like no real strong, hard counter to her because she'll always do well because you can always build differently, you can always itemize differently, you can always buy starting items a little bit differently as well if you can go for the Crystalline Flask and the health pots kind of thing. I want to see mostly, though, how the mid lane's going to go. Because remember back in the summer split of LCS, like the qualifiers, we saw the 9,000 or the 3,000 ELO Shockwave. Like if you don't have a strong early game in Orianna, then your Ezreal's going to be the one you depend on to do the damage. So Orianna has to do well in the beginning, and that's all going to depend on Jarvan if he's going to be able to facilitate some ganks there. Not to mention Maokai. Lady Warrior could come down from that top lane, Twisted Advance in, and you can lock down the Lissandra.
Yeah, they have a pretty scary AE comp, honestly. If you think about get the Cataclysm in there, you get the Shockwave on top of them. You even got the Ezreal True Shot Barrage going across the top. Maokai can be in there. There's a lot of AE damage in there.
It's a Wombo combo team.
The Wombo combo, indeed, is available. But this is the Southeast European Grand Finals. If you guys have not been following this, there was 204 teams, I think it was, originally,
like
that actually have participated in this. 200 plus, that's all I know. I'm pretty sure it's 204. But I'm going to quickly go through the regions that were covered, because obviously this is an area that you don't ordinarily get to see. It is actually an area, especially in League of Legends, that has grown, I think, considerably. Especially Turkey. You can see Dark Passage in there, obviously one of the big Turkish teams in there, along with Aces High, who the new split-off team we're going to get in the Intel Extreme Masters in Cologne. It's actually this weekend, so in just a few days' time. But this is basically, the teams are from the Adriatic region, which is obviously all the Yugoslavian or new states, which
Professor
is
Demon here.
Slovakia, all those sort of areas. Hungary is also obviously in the region, Bulgaria. So this is all the same area of the country. Think of Italy, Adriatic Sea, all over here. Everything over here, basically. Basically where us Europeans like to go on holiday. it's safe to say. Because Greece and Cyprus are in there. I've definitely been to those places. Romania, Moldova, everything in there. So there's a lot of teams, a lot of regions that you wouldn't ordinarily see obviously getting active. Now, Turkey themselves are obviously clearly the biggest region in this. Riot have got a lot of coverage in Turkey. Riot Turkey itself has massive region. They have massive finals.
It's very
10,000 arena finals. Yeah,
very comparative.
Absolutely, very comparative to Brazil. That's why they're all obviously in the International Wildcard Tournament. But let's look at the brackets for this tournament itself to see how these teams got there in the first place, Jason.
And you see different dimensions coming in from the top side, having the #1 seed in this one, beating Team Bulgaria in a 2-0, beating Reported and Deported. Fantastic name, 2-0 as well here. And of course, Dark Passage as the #3 seed. If you have to keep in mind, there were some national qualifiers into this one, then it went into some national finals, and from there, obviously the top teams went into a group stage, where obviously these 8 teams made it through into the playoffs. But they all won 2-0. Like Dark Passage, Domino Reaction, Team Druids beat them 2-0 apiece, and never really had a tough game. I think there was maybe one in there for DP that had a little bit of a rough time, but they were literally 20 to 35-minute stomps every game.
Do you want to have a pop at the Croatian team name? Luti Kruti, I think it was. It's a tricky one, that's for sure. Luti Kruti. But it is different dimensions, of course, representing Greece in this one, up against Dark Passage, who themselves, as I mentioned, they've got 3 players in there. It is Crystal M, who used to be the jungler, of course, for Dark Passage at the World Championship. So you've seen this guy recently up against the likes of Samsung. I'm pretty sure it's Samsung White that was in their group. It was definitely one of the Samsungs. I'm pretty sure it was White. Naru, of course, in that mid lane. He's been there the whole time. Very solid mid laner. And of course, it is actually the support. It is Touch, as far as I'm aware, despite the fact he's called NBJ Finger on my in this game, which I'm pretty sure is Touch, who used to be, of course, Holy Phoenix's partnership. He was at Worlds as well. He came in as the English-speaking guy. So I wonder if they're still speaking English here. They've had changes. Fabulous used to be in that top lane. It's now Elwind, I believe it is, in that top lane. That's who I believe is playing there. Of course, we are on a different realm.
We're on the
using
Nordic
different
East
names,
servers, so it might be a couple different names in there. But this is who we're assuming. We'll probably try to get confirmation while we do have time between the breaks, between the matches. But of course, it's a best of 5 here, and this is only the first game.
I'm definitely not going to pronounce his name in this one. That's for sure. Couldn't understand that. Steelback is the AD carry as well. He's come in for Holy Phoenix, who, of course, was the superstar of Dark Passage. And moving on, of course, to give you a quick rundown of the different dimensions team, it is Lady Warrior in the top lane. He's going to be the top laner. We'll be on Maokai, actually, when we get into there. Which is a great name in itself, or Warrior Lady was what we've got written down, but it's Lady Warrior's gone with in this one. And on Psycho, so there's a couple of names I'm going to enjoy screaming out here. We've got Mage Bane in the middle. That's a good name. That's a solid name right there. Mage Bane, the mid laner on Orianna currently. It actually says
Dom La Playa.
Domi La Playa. As far as I know, it's dominant. So we're going to stick with dominant as much as we can. And Panda Life is Wild Panda. Panda Life is all the same thing. Yeah, big fan of Candy Panda, clearly. I don't know.
I want to know how to say the Aurelia name.
The Aurelia name? No, can't tell you that one. We'll find out how it's pronounced.
We'll just call him Yetin.
We'll get in there. But yeah, to just briefly run you through the Southeast Europe, and so used to Southeast Asia, the C region. But this is the C region, but it's Southeast Europe and not Southeast Asia region. So we're about to get in the game. But yeah, the 204 teams, national qualifiers for all these guys. They have to qualify through there. So obviously, big chunk of teams all qualifying from around the world, going down to national finals, then finally getting through in towards this team. So these guys have really played a lot of matches to get to this point. We're going to get into the game. We're going to get things running. That is just typical. The second we get in there, they have a pause. So I think I just heard someone disconnect.
Yeah, we can talk about this because, well, we ask ourselves, why is this important? Like, why is it important to have this region going and anything like that? But you think about this, all these teams to get better, to play in the limelight, to play in the world, the world championships and all that. You have Turkey right now as the only team from this region to be represented in the form of Dark Passage. You need to play a lot. You need to get experience. You need to play against each other. You need to figure out how to play better. You can't just do that from watching games. Like we saw back, Gambit Intel Extreme Masters Katowice the first time we were there. They took the whole Curse of Sad Bullet Time thing without even practicing it, and it failed completely. And obviously, by playing against all these teams, by having this constant competition going on, you're going to improve yourself, you're going to improve your team, and eventually, hopefully for them, make it into the World Championships.
Well, yeah, and obviously talking about the World Championships, that is the ultimate goal for everyone. But we should also talk about, a lot of people were talking about international wildcard tournaments, etc. Like, why do we allow these? Why does it happen? I mean, everybody has to be given a chance, that's for sure, to get there. And as Alliance found out to their detriment, you can lose to these teams. They are not bad. If they've got to this stage, for example, the International Wildcard Tournament, they have probably played hundreds upon hundreds of pro matches within their region to just reach that stage. It's actually probably quite a lot more than the actual EU LCS, NA teams have played to get there, because they've had to go through a hell of a hard slog. We've still got a pause going on in-game, as you can see, so they're just sorting out. I think we're just waiting for other people to rejoin. Yeah, everybody's just rejoining the game. So we'll get into that in a moment. You can see both teleports for the two top laners. No surprises, really, from anyone that we're seeing so far. Flash Ignite, no exhaust for different dimensions, so that may well be a slight surprise. But we're going to have Jason Kaplan doing the spectating. So
this is my calling.
This is your calling in life. And Jason, this is the first time we've cast since 2013 EULCS. So
it's been a long time.
It's good to be back on. He's already gone for the nipple flick starter, so it's we're getting things back underway. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live for the Southeast Europe Championships Grand Finals. It is a best of 5, so lots of games to go on today, and it is starting off. The red team is Different Dimensions, the Greek representatives, up against Turkey's finest, Dark Passage, who themselves, of course, were representing Turkey at the World Championships in 2014.
And I want to point out something here, Damien, that we've seen happen a lot lately. Picking up a Maokai allows you to take your Raptor camp right away with him, get a very early level 2, then teleport back, or sorry, not get level 2 off of it, but the teleport top lane, I think it's like 1 minion you need if it's not the Raptor camp alone. Hit level 2, and you have a very strong advantage in your lane. So it looks like Lady Warrior is going to be setting up exactly for that here, and that puts Aurelia Yeton in a very awkward position. Either they're going to contest it, which you do see Nara already helping push through it, or they're going to let that one go for free.
Well, we're going to see whether it works out. We did have a couple of varieties. We had the buddy system working in San Jose, obviously just last week, where they will have the top laner following around with the jungler, which may actually be happening for Dark Passage. You can see they're both stood together at the moment. They are on top of a ward. Crystal is very much spotted. They know that he's there, which is possibly going to give them a switch around. There we go. You can see the Krugs are going to get started off by Steelback and Touch. I think, should we call him Touch or should we call him Finger? Because his name's Finger in this, and basically everyone watching is only going to know him as Finger, but he is technically Touch.
Let's go with Finger.
A touchy finger.
That works out well. But we do see really quick, just to point out, Lady Warrior will be starting over towards the Wolf camp.
So an invade bot lane. They're going in around. They're actually going straight towards the Krugs because they believe they've started at the Krugs. It's actually caught them off guard. So instead, they've gone around, tried to sneak around to the back of the Krugs. Yeah, and they've actually lost a bit of time there because that's clearly going to be a level 2 start by Dark Passage.
So not only are they not going to get their own Gromp, which they could have done in turn of this, they now lose out on early level 2 here unless Thresh and Rezo can push this lane out very, very quickly. And as you can see with Corki and John just shoving it in, not going to let that one happen anytime soon.
Well, teleport to the top lane. That is going to be Lady Warrior going up there, up against Aurelia. So as you said, coming in there, level 2, up against the level 1. Worked out well for him. Will immediately get dashed on. Not too sure what Elwyn... We're going to go with Elwyn because let's go with I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't if I try and pronounce that last name.
Let's go with Elwyn there. But yes, I mean, you see a couple of extra health pots picked up here for Lady Warrior, even some mana pots in there. So he's going to have a lot more sustain when he's already Maokai and he's hard to really push out of a lane here. So it'll be a little bit tough for Elwyn, but I would imagine, again, it's an Aurelia. You can survive in the lane for a very long time with a Crystalline Flask 3 health part start.
Well, at the moment, Maokai is happy to just keep on farming. You can see Aurelia trying to draw something out. Trying to draw anything from them. Let's go back to that mid lane. Let's talk about Naru. Naru, of course, on Lissandra was the first pick for the team, so we'll see if it's a big deal for them. Orianna quickly counter-picked into it. Surprising to see the mid lane is actually picking so early on. Normally it's one of the last champions you see selected, but both of these guys very confident in their abilities.
Well, one thing it also shows us is what's important in the region, right? I mean, you look at Korea compared to this, obviously going to be a difference in skill, a difference in what they pick in order. But they value very highly mid lanes. Even Orianna's picked up right away.
Yeah, I mean, let's not negate the fact, of course, skill level-wise. We're never going to compare these guys to, say, someone in Korea, because clearly that region has proven over the last 3 years they are a dominant force in League of Legends. But these guys will do what they can to try to compete. And the only way you can compete at the highest level to get to that level is to play against them. So we'll see how far they go at the moment. Dark Passage, of course, have had a taste, a flavor of World Championship experience. We'll see what they brought from it. Fabulous used to be the top laner for Dark Passage, has moved on, and actually is in one of the rivals, I believe he moved across to. There is around about a couple of teams within Turkey that are very much rivals. Actually, gaming houses are fairly prevalent there now. There's like 3 or 4 teams with gaming houses. Of course, Aces High, the newer team that's come about as well. Holy Phoenix went to that one and pulled a bunch of players across. We'll be seeing those just in a couple of days' time at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. So we'll see how his new team's working out for him. Obviously, qualified first in their region for this one. Up against Dark Passage, I think, pretty sure they played them. But that is, of course, for another day. And at the moment, Different Dimensions are actually starting to put a little bit of pressure in these lanes. But you can see Crystal, he's setting up for a gank here. Will he go for it?
He's looking for it. He can obviously safeguard over that wall, but he will just back away instead. Anon just going to push into the bottom side of the river here, take down a pink ward as well. And this is kind of what I'm expecting in this game, just relatively slow play. I'm not really expecting like a huge kill fest, but obviously both teams just trying to get in the right position, get that advantage going, and see if they can snowball. And one thing that we've always found across League of Legends in any region is the fact of, you know, newer teams or teams who are just trying to learn on that skill gap really struggle when it comes to closing out games. But Crystal going for the gank kill on the top side, looking for Lady Warrior.
Oh, a good knock-up though, but he can't take on two people. Flashes away. Is he got away from this one? That's a lot of damage going down. And the lack of vision from Dark Passage, they didn't want to commit to that. They didn't know where Jarvan was, and they back away. They could have gone for the kill.
As we can see, Jarvan is on that bottom side, but it was well executed. I mean, you saw Lee Sin ward it earlier on, and there was no flinch onto Lady Warrior. You didn't see the ward actually being placed, so you knew, all right, this is going to be a free gank here. He gets the flash out of him, and also, as you can see, Elwin has a lot of pots here left to work with, so he should be fine unless he wants to go back to base to teleport. Though that would be down for a potential first dragon, which could be a big detriment, because Lady Warrior, as you can see, his is almost back up.
Yeah, TP almost back available. Still continuing to farm as well, so hasn't even been forced out of the lane. Clearly, there was problems for Elwind in that top lane. There is the Jarvan that they were so worried about, but he was nowhere to be seen. He was down the bottom farming away quite happily. Mid lane is still yet to go back and buy, keep an equal in farm with one another, 49 to 49. You can see Naru having to play this one coy. And actually, you know, both of these mid lane champions, they kind of need a couple of items to really before they can get going.
Yeah, and I really want to see what they're going to build as well. I mean, the Double Morello Nomicon, which we've seen come out quite a bit lately, could be a pickup here for Naru. But then again, like the gank potential, you have to keep that in mind. Like, Naru has the engage onto Orianna that makes it so easy for him to pick up a kill, lock him down, follow up with a Lee Sin and potentially a kick. Like, that should be a guaranteed kill almost every single time. So it's going to come down to, can Anon keep up and predict where Crystal's going to go to stop him from getting these easy ganks mid lane and getting Lissandra fed? Or is he going to just kind of fall by the wayside? And well, so far he's keeping up in levels, but he hasn't been as present around the map here as Crystal has.
Well, and despite having a Lee Sin and a Jarvan, we're not going to see any early dragons. We're at the 7-minute mark. Both junglers laying in wait. See if they can pounce for anything. Crystal is going to back off and go towards the Raptors. I'm so used to calling them the Wraiths these days. You know, catch me out for a days, I think, that one. But Jarvan actually still sticking around there, so we'll see whether... Oh, and on Psycho goes for it. He will jump in there. There's going to be the Shockwave. Is it enough? The Ignite goes down, but he will be able to back away from that one. Of course, had his ultimate to save himself from that Ignite if he needed it as well. But a gank attempt, the first one, the second one, but the first one for different dimensions.
Yeah, it was a good attempt, but you have to keep in mind how mobile Lissandra can really be. And not to mention, one thing they did pull out, not Lissandra, sorry, Aurelia tried to teleport down towards the mid lane to turn that around, but he actually canceled it. So now they will have the advantage on teleports here, which is a huge win and could lead up to a dragon.
Yeah, that's going to be on a fairly short cooldown, but not that short. So we'll wonder if they realized it. Did they see it happening? Was Maokai aware of it? Of course, could have interrupted maybe if they needed to. This bottom lane, it has been a very quiet, but it's also kind of what you expect. When it's a best-of-5 grand final, you want to kind of feel each other out. You make sure you're unsure of one another to begin with. Of course, these are a Greek team versus a Turkish team, national pride on the line, all that sort of thing. So nobody wants to lose the first game and get that mindset. Everyone wants to start off strong. And actually, it is pretty fairly well balanced between these two teams. Clearly, the skill gap is a lot closer than we were expecting. Of course, Dark Passage, big favourites coming into this one. You'd have to say that because they are by far the most popular, famous team that have got that world's experience. Morello Nomicon, first item bought for Naru, so he is going to go that route. Looks like it's going to be the exact same thing. Actually, no, it's going to be Athena's for Magebane. Instead, they're going to go in towards the red buff. Crystal should be first blood. There it goes. A quick, easy pickup for Magebane. The red was also smited away by an on-psycho, so stole everything they wanted.
Yeah, great time. They knew exactly where he started. Instead of going for their blue buff right away, give it to Magebane. They go for the invade, taking advantage of no wards even being anywhere in the vicinity to stop them from coming in. Pick up a free kill. He actually gave over to Magebane on purpose right there to give him more of an advantage in his lane. And Naru, who has no flash, has to be careful here.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to play it cautious. Will he go aggressive? Certainly kept Magebane very defensive. Pulls that defensive ball, but coming around the side. Remember, no flash available this time around. Will use a good ultimate to block out that shockwave damage, but Cataclysm is there. He will go down. It's a second for Magebane.
That's what's going to happen. Like, he even pinged, and he was there. Like, they had a ping literally spotting out. Anon was there, and yet he still went in. Magebane, nice flash, really kind of questionable at some points, but it still nets him to kill nonetheless. He still obviously knows the cooldown of Naru's, and they pick himself up another kill here. So he already had a lead. Now sitting on 1,300 gold. We'll have that Themes and Holy Grail done when he goes back to base, and this is going to pose a big problem. We talked about earlier on how if Orianna can't get going, then it's all about Ezreal do the damage, but she has the 2 kills, she's leading in farm, and this is a fantastic start here for Different Dimensions.
It's interesting to see him go for that Athenes because obviously a lot of players have shied away from it now. If you were to look at the composition that obviously they have, Corki, of course, does deal a percentage of magic damage, you could say, but you would assume Morellonomicon would fit that sort of build a lot better than an Athenes, because Athenes, obviously, the main bonus you're gaining from it is having that magic resist. That's where you go towards it, which is only 25 these days, of course.
I think the idea of it is to survive his lane. Like, obviously, the magic resist is going to help him, or stop him from being instantly bursted down by Naru. And the Morellonomicon, when it comes to late game, isn't really going to be, I think, it'll be a big thing late game, but early game, like, obviously, the regen off of Aurelia isn't as much as you kind of would expect it to be later on, especially with Corki as well. I think it's a smart pickup. He's not leveling Command Protect, but you pair that with the Athenes, and he is impossible to be bursted down, as you're going to see.
Oh, hello. We're going to see them going at it. But again, this time it will work out in his favor. He will get the kill pickup, but Crystal will come up and clean up the mess. But it doesn't matter. It's a 3-kill mid laner right now, and Naru is being dominated.
The thing is, you saw right there, like, he survived the full combo without even his own ultimate up and was still able to turn that around, pick up the kill, and eventually he did go down, but still got the kill nonetheless here. And he's really showing how dominant he is beating this lane. And considering Naru, you know, a main star for the Turkish region in that mid lane, going to the end and actually losing so far, it's a fantastic start here for DD. And I honestly didn't expect this. I thought DP would have this one pretty easily.
Yeah, well, we may have a certain series on our hands here. We can see, of course, the bot laner is pretty low and is dominant. We'll see Ezreal. We'll see if he has to shy away from this one. We do see Dark Passage pushing into the turret. Oh, that rocket's so close to landing.
The thing is, look at the AD carries. They both haven't bought up yet, and they're both sitting at 104 CS. So are they both going Trinity Force?
Each.
Like, they can instantly buy it when they go back to base here. So they're both going to have a major power spike, and you can see neither of them wants to leave right now because they continually want to keep this farm up.
Well, he's going to do the True Shot, try and keep that wave cleared, and on Psycho will have to flag and drag away as Naru tries to pick him off there. But again, look at that, Mage Bane straight on his case, putting damage towards him and cutting off Naru as he tried to maybe make a peek down towards that bottom lane. And instead, it will be blue buff going across to Mage Bane unless they mess it up, which I did actually see the other day in one of the matches, that it still can happen at the pro level. Your jungler does occasionally make a mistake where he accidentally steals away that blue buff, and it's not just you guys.
You sure it's accidental?
Well, you never know. You never know with these teams.
Well, either way, he does have the blue buff, like you said. Naru, not sitting on his anymore, unfortunately. Hans lost it a little bit earlier on here. But you can see that a lot of pressure coming down the mid lane. Crystal, he's camping it quite a bit here. Actually has the blue buff himself because of the steal over onto Mage Bane. And Naru trying to bait in a kill here middle as well. You can see they really want to focus him down. They want to prevent Mage from getting much stronger. And that's the route to do it. But also Dragons is kind of the way. The problem is, with your Orianna with 3 kills, do you really want a team fighter? And the answer obviously is no.
Yeah, and the danger is that obviously when you have the Orianna, the idea is it's slow to get going. It's a big late game champion. Oh dear, that's going to be a dead Aurelia in the top lane. Very much called out. A non-Psycho is setting up kill after kill right now.
Oh, teleport coming out for Lady Warrior. He wants to get on this bottom side here, and Finger getting caught up. Flashes into the True Shot barrage.
Not needed.
That was intentional, clearly here out of Dominant, but a fantastic little play. Warrior didn't really obviously use teleport. We missed a kill in the top side, as it looks like Anon was a little bit too aggressive. But that still might have given away the dragon here for the side of DD if he pushes in.
Oh, yeah. So that was simply a case of, obviously, ironically, Lady Warrior teleported away straight at the time that Naru and Crystal M were
it's there. Like, thanks, bro. You left me behind.
Yeah, it's like, you just left me hanging. But it's going to set up a dragon because they knew the jungler was in that top lane. Teleport comes out. Here's the Aurelia trying to get on towards them. Will lock up. This could be a good fight for them if they can get in the right place. It's a great stuff from Naru. Gets straight across. Shockwave pulls them back in, though. And it's a double instantly picked up there. There's the Ezreal going down. Can they catch another? They're going to chase on towards it. There's the flash. They will get the slow on Steelback. Steelback with the support of his support. Janna will try and go for it, but instead Touch needs to run away. He's gone out with a slow. There's the Ezreal to pick it up. And wow, different dimensions, just destroying. Can they get the ace? They're going to chase on towards it. Absolutely will. Dominant gets that one. It's 10-2 to different dimensions, destroying Dark Passage right now.
And that fight alone went exactly back to what we talked about before with the Orianna. The Shockwave alone completely turned the tides of that fight right there. Give them the ace. 5 kills now for Orianna, 4 kills for Ezreal off of that last fight alone. And he has the, wow, the Sheen, and I forgot the name of this one for some reason. Man Immune already built up now. that was a huge victory for them. They even got the Dragon on top of that without even their jungler being there. This is going to be dominating for them. I mean, you imagine after all that, it wouldn't be that big of a lead, or it would be bigger of a lead than 4,000 gold, but the Dragon added in on top of it with now turrets potentially to be taken. This is a fantastic start here for DD.
Yeah, the coordination from Dark Passage, I mean, it started off so well. They got, obviously, Aurelia was in there, Elwind, managed to get them all on towards them, quickly followed by Naru, who'd stun lock them all up, but Steelback wasn't there, and now again, we see Aurelia trying to go aggressive, but there's a Cataclysm, quick and easy, and on Psycho picks himself up his 4th assist of the game, and now the top lane is even being dominated. This is all looking very negative for Dark Passage right now. Look at this, Panda Life, can he pull them in? He's trying to draw their attention. Is he going to be sustainable enough? Naru's going to be gifted this one, and by God, does he need it.
Yes, he does. He's now 2-3-1 here, but going back to that gank we saw top side, it was just so damn well executed. They knew Elwind had no flash up. You're not going to escape a Maokai and a Jarvan's Cataclysm. Why not feed over these free kills, get the Maokai even tankier than he needs to be, with the Rod of Ages now done and the Spectre's Cowl done on top of that. And you have Magebane, who's still having a fantastic game. He's not that far ahead in CS, but he almost has his... He's not... No, okay, he's going Zhonya's. He's going for some reason DFG there for a second. So now he's even harder to kill for a potential dive here on Naru.
Maybe he will. Maybe he's just going full aggression. Who knows? We'll see how it works.
He's got one ball that's pretty big already.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Magebane looking solid in this game. 5-1-3. 4-0-1, of course, for Ezreal as well. Dark Passage hoping to try and create something from this. The first tower of the game did go down in that top lane. Lady Warrior working that one, who is 2-0-3 himself, and very much building that strong, tanky build already. The Rod of Ages complete. You can see possible Banshees maybe coming out there with a Spectral Cowl, but also got the Warden's Mail as well, so could go towards that Frozen Heart.
Very much set for everything.
He's going to be a giant tank, and I'm not too sure they've got enough to actually punish him right now. He may go aggressive. You can see Aurelia doesn't want any of it anymore. Cannot fight.
I do question one thing, though. The Dominant went for the Manamune. Like, I understand, it's an item he's going to need if he wants to poke down a lot, but he could have full bought a Triforce and then been more powerful now and just skipped the Manamune and went for something a little bit later on.
And you got to wonder if he was going to go for that. Why didn't he back a lot earlier?
Exactly.
Instead of sitting on that 3-4K or whatever he had before he took the first back there. So yeah, it's going to take a while to build up for sure. That one.
I mean, he could have just went. He could have went Triforce or Frozen Fist first, because the Frozen Fist would give you so much kiting potential here that you're going to need. Give you a little bit of armor as well to survive Crystal and obviously Elwind if they do dive in the backside. But I'm not going to question his build too much because he's 4-0.
He's 4-0-1. He's for sure. So he's doing a pretty good job right now. So as it stands, it is a big advantage, of course. No global gold for that Dragon, but if your team comes in and gives you an ace straight off the back of picking up the Dragon, well, it all works out well in the end, doesn't it? That's for sure. The Baron, of course, spawning on the 20-minute mark. There's the new icon for it as well, and the new Dragon icon as well. So that's going to be up around about the same time. Don't expect the Baron to be started off anytime soon, but the Dragon almost certainly will be another target, probably for different dimensions. Quick poke between the mid laners.
Look at the difference in damage.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous here.
Oh, he's going for it. Actually dives in towards it, but again, Magebane has enough. Shockwave pulls him in. Zhonya's Hourglass. Is it going to be enough? Gets one, gets the second. Oh my God! Magebane absolutely cleaning up again with the support of a non-psycho. What a fantastic play again. That's why he got the Zhonyas.
Exactly. He popped it. He used his Zhonya just to buy some time here for Na'Vi to get back in as quick as he possibly could. The Knock could come in as well. And I think he was just outside the Cataclysm for Mage, so he wasn't even being auto-attacked at the end. Picked up 2 quick frags. 7-1-3 here now for Orianna. And he's sitting on another 1,300 gold. He was already, well, he's over 2.3 thousand gold ahead of his opponent in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's not looking good for Naru, that's for sure. That tower's going to go down. That will be the second of the game. As different dimensions take a gigantic lead now. 7,000 gold inside 20 minutes. Was not expecting this at all. Steelback having to use a Valkyrie to dodge out of that death sentence, and now this bottom lane turret is in trouble. There is nobody coming down to support them, but they are getting simply free hits because of the pressure being laid around the rest of the map.
Not to mention that threat of the Thresh there being on top of that too. And one thing I want to see as we do obviously hit this pause, I want to know how they can take this lead that they built up over the past 19.5 minutes and finish the game, right? So if you think about like the Korean teams, like you give them like a 2,000 gold lead, they will crush you. They will just absolutely snowball that game. And the teams who are kind of up and coming and obviously not on the same kind of skill level, they struggle a little bit more on closing out games. And when you have this kind of lead, you should be able to finish the game quickly. But it's going to come down to how are they going to do it? Are they going to kind of go back to the crutch of dragons, maybe a crutch of Baron, and kind of push for it? I mean, it's not necessarily a crutch. But if you don't force the Baron or Dragon anytime soon, then it's kind of like, well, what's this lead for? You're just giving the other team time to get back in the game.
We even saw the same thing with the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose with both Cloud9 and Unicorns Aloft. While they did win the matches, it took them a while to get comfortable and used to closing those games out, of course, despite having some pretty big leads in both of those games.
I mean, I will give them this. It's a completely different game now with everything that's been changed. But you want to see how quickly teams can adapt, and you want to see if they generally have the idea of how to finish the game. Like, are they going to, clear out vision around Baron and force a fight there when they have a team that's based around a Wombo combo, and when your key component of it has 7 kills, like, it's kind of impossible to miss these. Not to mention the Shockwaves have been absolutely spot on here so far.
Well, I mean, a big part of it clearly is obviously just getting used to the fact that, having that Dragon control does help you a lot early on.
Yeah.
If you are starting to get those buffs, that 8%, while it's not a great deal, say 5-10 minutes into the game, 8% on whatever you've got, getting into the 30-minute mark, it's massive. It's a massive buff in abilities. Of course, it's 6% now.
Yeah.
It got changed. It got nerfed down a bit. So, yeah, as you can see, we're looking over it now. Dragon's Wrath and Dominance got switched around, I believe it did. So the 50% to towers now, and, of course, the minions. So that is going to take the towers down quicker if they get this next one, which is up in 37 seconds.
See, to me, that makes it so much more snowball-y.
Yes,
like,
well, that's it. They want to speed the game.
Yeah.
That's the point of it. I mean, the whole point of all these patches is to speed the game. You don't want to see those 60, 80-minute games. While they are epic in proportions, they are also dire to watch.
You're
Let's
speaking
face
from
it.
experience here, huh?
Yeah, they go on for too long. And also, people are starting to get used to the fact that with the Baron, you want to get the Baron buff. You don't want to just clump as a team. You actually want to go all 3 lanes, get those buff super minions going down there, those buffed up Baron buff minions, and they'll push towers on their own. You don't need to be there. Like, if you get the cannon wave, which comes every 2 now, I think, when the Baron's on there.
After 35 minutes, it comes every wave.
Every wave. And then when you start getting those, they actually outrange the towers. So you have to go out and deal with them. So teams are just getting used to it. Obviously, these new play styles. They've played for 4 or 5 years in this style where you just have to, okay, guys, now we need to get Baron. Now we need to siege up. They're just taking a little while to get used to this new mode, and I think it's starting to click now. You're starting to see teams obviously making use of it. Cloud9 very much made great use of it at the Grand Finals into Extreme Masters. As soon as they got them Baron buffs up, they were just shoving those lanes, all 3 of them.
We actually saw during EPS Finals this last weekend, a lane that had 3 Candy Minions in it, shoving against a Baron up, Hannah Baron, 3 Candy Minions pushing in, and they took down towers so damn quick. And I want to see how the meta is going to kind of change, because you've seen a lot of disengaged compositions kind of built around that fact. Like a Janna, obviously you need to be able to not necessarily a Janna, but you need to have someone that can help you disengage if you're like a 3-man pushing squad into a lane. So let's say you have a Janna there, you get engaged on, you disengage, you run away, you let the 2 split pushers just continue to shove in. And if you do that, the other team's going to have to respond by stopping them. They're going to have to send 1 person out each, and then you're going to have a 3-on-3 fight, which you should be stronger than, since you already have the lead in that point in the game.
It's an interesting new tactical setup that you could start seeing teams literally aiming to have 2 split pushers and a 3-man clump, whereas as opposed to the 1-man split push and a 4-man clump. There's the vision, perfectly timed as well, with the Dragon just coming up to clear out and get some coverage of that Dragon buff. They're not going to go for it just yet because they force a flash. Cataclysm used. It is on a pretty quick cooldown. And Naru also bullied out of that mid lane. It does mean different dimensions are going to have the advantage to go down there. Instead, they're going to teleport down the bottom. Oh, they're going to try and lock onto Steelback. Steelback in trouble here. Wow, he just gets absolutely smashed in the face by Lady Warrior, chunking down his hit points. Look at this. He's just kiting him, waiting for the rest of the team to respond here. Instead, we'll force him away. Top tower, middle tower actually did go down, so good response from Dark Passage to push that.
Yeah, we had a missed Shockwave coming in from Mage Bane right before we switched down towards that bottom side, because they realized they could push in, and now you're seeing 3-man coming towards this bottom side. They're going to pick up a turret, so they will trade 1 for 1 here. I would love to see Elwen push this top lane, though, and take that turret down in the meantime, since he does have his teleport up to get down towards this Dragon if they do need him.
Well, as the Dragon being started off, you can see the Flag and Drag from Anon Psycho in there. We'll tank this one out. Of course, Dragon got changed in this one. You can't quite kite it around like you used to be able to, so that defensive ball will be required. Of course, the AE damage does hit everyone equally instead of just the one anticipating. So it's you're not going to quite see as much dodging around as possible. Oh, Red Buff attempted steal there. I didn't see whether he got it. No, he didn't. You can see it's on Crystal. So it wasn't stolen away by Dominant. But it's top lane. I think it's going to go down. You can see Maokai heading this way, but not going to get there in time. So that's going to be the second turret of the game for Dark Passage, giving them some of that global gold they required, but how are they going to react to this big push?
Well, they just got their second. They got their second Dragon buff here, so they might as well start to take this, or might as well take these turrets down, get the extra damage to them. And obviously, they have their cooldowns up as well. Here you have the Oriental Shockwave back up, you have the Cataclysm back up as well. So if they go in for a fight here, they will just absolutely shred everyone.
Oh, just coming down the river. Actually wasn't sure whether Aurelia was going to try and flank around them. They will pass away instead. They do realize, I believe they realize he's coming. Oh, he's gone seen so far.
Well, now they do.
There's a non-psycho. Now he spots him and he goes for it. Cataclysm, no flash available for this Aurelia. This is some ballsy play. He knows he's got support. There is the Shockwave. Pulls him in. And Magebane picks up the 8th kill of the game.
I think that was just his way of teabagging him right there a little bit. Because, like, did he really need to use a Shockwave to kill him? I don't think so.
Well, maybe, because I think a non-psycho might well have gone down there. I mean, that's a tricky. Triforce up Aurelia will do a lot of damage to that jungler, despite the fact that he's got the Aegis Legion.
That's a good point. I didn't actually take that into account. I just wanted to assume that was teabagging in this one. But again, you see how much damage he's doing. He's got a 10 CS lead, but he's got 8 kills behind him. He hasn't bought in a while. I was just going to say, he picks up practically a death cap here. Pick it up and you see a large rod behind that. So he's sitting on a very lame 343 AP. 23 minutes in compared to 278. Well, actually, I'll give credit to Nari. He's been keeping up in terms of
now
AP.
Now he's got the Zhonya's on there. He will be a little more aggressive, do you think? But speaking of aggression, it's really all about that jungler right now. And non-psycho has been absolutely jumping on them every step of the way. Don't think you're going to get out of this one dominant. He will go down. A 3-man gang squad from Dark Passage will pick them up their 4th kill of the game. And more importantly, the 1st kill for Corki.
The thing is, Dark Passage are not out just yet. I mean...
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, they're down 10 kills, but they have a really good pick comp. Like, if you can catch out Orianna, you catch out Ezreal with that ultimate out of Naru, you completely burst it down with the kick, with the really diving in, not to mention the rockets to kind of poke at them a little bit. Like, you could potentially pick up one of them really easily. And as long as you dodge that Shockwave, there goes the whole Wombo combo, and they won't have that much damage behind them. But they're going to depend a lot on Aurelia and Corki to really build up their damage against the Maokai, who's 203, Frozen Heart, Rod of Ages, Spectral's Caldun. He is a tanky monster here now. I mean, what is it, 182 armor, 91 magic resist, not to mention you can heal during these fights for the majority of it. So they still have a chance, but they need to make sure they get these picks.
Yeah, and back onto different dimensions. They need to make sure, of course, this big bonus they've built up, this big gold advantage, 6,000 gold just 24 minutes into this game, that they actually group up and make use of it and don't just get picked apart. And as you can see, they are still split off, keeping Lady Warrior as a split pusher. And I'm not sure whether he should be split pushing right now. I think they could just, group up and push. Like you said, they've got that second dragon. They've got that 15% bonus damage. Yeah. You could probably siege down that mid turret.
I think they could, and they very well might. I think Lady Warrior might have just been shoving out that lane so he could regroup for this one. But I think they're also a little bit scared. Obviously, it's the first game of best of 5. You don't want to lose the first one, especially with a lead like this. The problem they come into is if they dive on top of Dark Passage, you have a Lissandra who is almost undivable at this point. It can just completely lock you down to the turret for the majority of it. But again, if they hit their Wombo combo, it won't even matter. They won't even have a chance to make that one happen. So it's just whether or not they want to risk that kind of route, or if they want to drag the game out a little bit more, maybe go for that next dragon, or maybe kind of force a couple of open objectives here around the map with some turrets.
Well, there's the blue buff that looks like being picked up by Magebane, so that's going to give them cause for aggression. You can see the little turtle scuttling away. Such a pain in the backside to try and kill that thing. He will get taken down though by Dominant, so bottom lane has to be protected, I think, because Corki is shoving in there for that 3rd tower. That's why we see Dominant heading down there to cut off that wave. And honestly, credit to Dark Passage. They're doing a good job at keeping all the waves shoved, which is actually keeping Different Dimension a little bit slower in their attack. Dragon up 1 minute 40. That may actually be the next focus target if they can position anything around it. Both teleports up for the top laners. So we'll see if they make a play for it.
It's such a tricky area to fight in as well. Like a Dragon Pit, if you're the team that's engaging it, then obviously, let's just say you're DD here and you sit in this kind of area. If they come through this funnel, that's an easy Orianna Shockwave. That's an easy couple of kills coming in for your side. And it's very kind of hard to deal with that. But I'm also worried the fact that Magebane has 8 kills. He has 8 out of their 14. And if he dies, all the money that he's been able to build up, look at that, 9,000 to 11,000, all that just completely gets diminished, especially if he doesn't get that Shockwave off in time. So he has to stay alive, and they still have to pick their fights very carefully because they haven't really been able to spread the kills around all too well.
How's the Muramana stacking out, actually, while we're on the case? Okay, so he's not too far away from getting that, so that may well be up and available. Once this dragon goes down, I think it won't be available for the fight, certainly, but not long after it will be certainly stacked out. Of course, going towards those basic attacks right now. There we go, though. Big power spike, mid laner. Magebane, oh, they're going in for him. The bottom lane, they're diving on towards him. Can they have a kick away? The tower is going to do damage. Tower gets shot down as well. He's got to run from this one. Teleport comes around the side. There's Anon, going to jump straight on towards him. Good flash out there from Steelback. Will try and dodge out of it. Hasn't got out of the woods yet. Anon's going to still get chasing him down. Will lock him up. Exhaust U's out there. Maokai comes around the backside though. Locks on. Twisted advance. He will go down. Anon Psycho picks that one up. And now Touch is in trouble. Jan having to flash away from this one. Death Sentence lands from downtown. And that's a kill. Would you believe it, for Dominant in the end? The man that was focused after all of that. 5-1-2 just in time for the Dragon to spawn.
And this is exactly what DP was just trying to do. They were trying to set up an easy kill so they can transition it right into a Dragon. But unfortunately, they get caught out. But Anon, his knock-up right there, catching up Corki and Lee Sin as they were diving in to completely save his AD carry's life was phenomenal. And that just turned the fight alone. And now, as you can see, picking up the third Dragon, that extra 5% movement speed, not to mention a little bit of time here to shove in some turrets or maybe set for this Baron. This should be here now in DD's hands.
Fantastic, fantastic fight turnaround. So,
oh, no, no, no. Look at this.
They could shove the mid, or will they? Oh, no. They found Naru around the back. Mage Bane's moving in towards him. He's going to try and dodge out. They know exactly where he was going. Locked straight on him, and he was picked off so easily. 9-1-4 now for Mage Bane. An absolute majestic performance on Orianna so far. He is just, Naru is simply being played by him right now. And you've got to give a lot of credit to Anon Psycho because he has been on point every step of the way. You can see those 9 assists and that kill. And they're just going to keep on shoving through this mid lane until somebody gets in the way to stop them.
They got to be a little careful. Their AD carry's not really here. They will have their Chi coming in from the lane, though. Back from base, just they will be able to at least push this one back out. They will go for a tier 2 turret on the bottom side, extend their gold lead to about 10,000 now. But you pointed out perfectly, Anon, he's definitely the MVP in this game along with Mage Bane. Like, the kills he provided early on for Mage completely opened up for him to go now 9-1.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one that basically gave Lady Warrior the chance to just absolutely dominate the Irelia. He's the man that sets up Mage Bane to do so well. Didn't really pay too many visits to the bottom lane, got to be fair. Dominant's kind of done that himself. He used cleanup duty after that couple of big fights around Dragon, but if I was Dark Passage, I'm not sure I'd want to defend this one right now. Here comes the cannon wave. They're going to push on in, and if Twisted Advance comes out from Lady Warrior, they need to back off from this one. You saw on the route, desperately backing away. Irelia having to drop away. Going in towards that top lane. They may get a top tier turret themselves. There's nobody going to be able to stop this one. Nobody can get back in time, although I'm not sure that minion wave will get it this time around. May need to wait for the next wave, which is going to give time. You can see Mage Bane already backed, but no, he will get the turret down.
Yeah, so he's trying to leave that pressure on that bottom turret. He's like, all right, we're going to lose this turret no matter what. Like, as you're saying, there shouldn't be an engage. Like, there's no reason for DP to even try to protect it. So I want to pick up a top 2 turret on the top side for free here. It looks like he's able to pick up his randoms when he goes back to base. So he'll be able to dive into the backside, slow them down, and help out. But still, I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, unfortunately for him, he's 0-4, so you can kind of afford to keep dying at this point. Not really giving that much gold up. But now we're about 30 minutes in, and when you die, since you can die for a longer period of time now, they kind of raise the limit on that one. That's a free Baron. Like, that's a lot of objectives, especially when they're knocking on the front door here on tier inhibs.
Tree Shot Barrage fired off. Just
no vision.
No vision, just a double check. Wasn't sure if they tried to sneak in. The new Santa hat on the Baron as well.
Where's the Hanukkah hat? Right, please. He had like 8 heads before, didn't he? That would have been perfect.
They could have had one on each head.
Yeah, exactly. I get a Kwanzaa hat there. Oh well.
Right, please, honestly. Anyway, nevertheless, so blue buff was just picked up for Naru, so no invade on that one, but they are in full defensive mode now.
He picked up a pot for Elixir Sorcery, so they want to fight now. They want to go for Baron, or they want to push in for like the end. Like, they want to finish the game now. That's exactly what it's saying.
Well, 30 minutes in, why not? You've got 3 dragons, 17-4 up in kills. You are absolutely dominating the game.
Oh, this is a free kill if they go for it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, they kind of want to make a pick before they go for Baron. They're just going to sweep the river out right now. They know that he's up there. Yeah, he's running for it right around the back, and they are actually pinging it. They kind of know where he's going. Look at him. Already making the moves. They're going to try and speed off. One cuts off the top. One cuts off the bottom. There goes the Ezreal. He's the man that's going to cut off. He will find him. That's going to be a tricky fight, though. An Irelia versus Ezreal. That's a pretty strong Irelia right now. Now he's got the support of Mage Bane. Now he's in trouble. The slow coming down. That red buff doing work. And absolutely just no, that's just destroyed him. He couldn't turn around and fight that one. There was nothing he could do. And as you mentioned, the Mirror Mana.
Yeah.
But that is going to trigger the Baron.
And that was the spike that they're maybe kind of waiting for a little bit. As you can see, it recently just came in, and he was able to 1v1 that Irelia so damn easily. He didn't even Arcane Shift because he knew if Irelia came into him, he would get stood up, shift away, and be fine here. But here we go. So Baron being started off, being done very, very quickly, down about 4,000 life. In the meantime, Thresh and Maokai are keeping them away from the Baron. Plays one so damn smart here. And the hook even landed on Lee Sin.
Straight on towards him. There's the flay. Oh, good kick, though. Does manage to knock the Twisted Advance back. And that's not going to be the Maokai getting on towards him.
Oh my
Look at
lord.
that. There's so much damage coming out of this Ezreal right now. Naru, is he going to go for it? No, no chance. He's just going to back away. Good escape, though, from Crystal. He has got to wait. He's going to have to back off, try and get back to base, because this is a full-on 5-man team pushing straight up that mid lane.
This is going to be really kind of tough for the side of DP to hold on to it. They don't have any Dragon Stacks. They don't have extra damage to minions. And look at this. Oh, Lissandra almost going down. Just a quick little combo.
The Mystic shot almost caught him as well there. Lady Warrior went for it, but did get hooked in. Instead, he's gone very deep now. They have the minions with them. They have the wave. There's the Cataclysm. They're going to jump on towards it. Aurelia doing anything he can. Death Sentence lands on Crystal. No follow-up this time around. Once again, Lady Warrior keeping them at bay, but the AD carry doing exactly what he needs to. Hitting the damn turret, and they will take down an inhib. Very, very easily done there for Different Dimension. Now we're going to see Panda Life in a little bit of trouble, or is he? Turns it around, Twisted advance onto Crystal M. There's the flag and drag. They will slap him straight down as well. And well, they are doing what they want right now. Naru, that Zhonya's is going to keep him alive for a couple of seconds along with the ulti. Lady Warrior happy to tank this one through, and actually giving a little bit of a helping hand there from Touch as he gets blown out by that. Shockwave does land. That's going to be the mid laner going down, and Different Dimensions are taking everything they need right now. Doesn't look like, because they have no minion wave, will they follow through? Will they just go straight for the finish here? They have 30-second death timers on the top laner and mid laner.
Oh,
it looks like they're going for it.
Look at the damage he does to Janna right there.
Boom.
That almost will pick up the kill here. Now Orianna flashes in, picks it up, and Corki, last man standing, going to get hooked back into his death.
Oh, absolutely everything working out. Even survives the laser from the Nexus turret as well. So from the fountain, sorry. There's the Nexus turrets falling, and Different Dimensions will take a solid game one, honestly. Was not what we were expecting. That is 100% for sure. 23-4 overall. Fantastic kill score. And really, massive, massive credit to Anon Psycho in that mid laner. Worked so well. And Magebane, my God. 12-1-7 at the end there. Fantastic stuff.
You saw the fruits of his labor at the end of the game right there, because if you think about it, that was the sloppiest way to win the game at the end, just to kind of shove them back and forth fighting. But because Lady Warrior was so tanky, he could tank the turrets. He could tank them the entire time and still heal up and stay alive for such a long time, which he didn't even die at the end. Because of all of that, they could just play that one so bad at the end and still win it because of the lead that they had. And with the Baron, it kind of just pushed things over the edge.
Fantastic performance, absolutely. You know, it was interesting to see how Dark Passage were going to turn into this one. Clearly still big favorites. They've still got 3 great big players in there, but we didn't see a lot of ganks coming out of Crystal early on. He made the first gank, which backfired, on the top. Didn't really work out, and then kind of didn't follow through with anything else.
Yeah, we were talking actually in the earlier part of the game of, will Jarvan be able to read Lee Sin well enough to prevent his own mid laner from going down, or potentially top laner? And he eventually, with the 1 or 2 quick kills that he got Magebane, he was allowed to just worry about these other lanes. Like you mentioned during the cast, he didn't even bother at the bottom lane. He just completely left that ignored because he wanted to focus on top and middle because he knew exactly Lee Sin would do the same here. Completely shuts him down, but I maybe want to see Crystal on someone more impactful next game.
Yeah, we're going to see how the pick and bans work out as well. Remember, that Lissandra was a first pick.
It was.
In this one,
it was.
And it didn't really work out very well against Magebane's Orianna. What a fantastic start. This is a best-of-5 series. Remember, this is a Southeast Europe Championships, the grand finals, of course, between Turkey's Dark Passage and Greece's Different Dimensions, who are currently 1-0 up. We're going to be getting Game 2 underway in a moment, Jason, but wow, what a start.
I can't wait to see what Game 2 has, actually, to come our way. I mean, are we going to see an Orianna ban? Lissandra, like you mentioned, first pick, not really impactful, but remember, both teams picked mid laners first, and we clearly saw which one was better in that.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to a quick break, I think, until we get these teams. Obviously, they need to have a little discussion about what exactly just went wrong there, or what went right. Who knows? Greece right now, 1-0 up over Turkey. We'll see how it goes. We'll be back in just a few moments, guys.